Hey guys, how are you doing today? We are halfway through the week, so I'm super excited because that only means that I have to work 2 more days and then the weekend. So I'm super stoked about it. Today I am bringing you my top 5 bookish themed cozy mysteries. So as I've talked before, cozy mysteries, most of them have certain themes that they revolve around, whether it's knitting or baking or magic or vets, or I mean there's a plethora of all different kinds of themed cozy mysteries. And so I was thinking, what are my life goals? What would I love to be a part of or to be when I grow up? And I couldn't help but think about all of my bookish themed cozy mysteries, whether they are librarians, whether they are reading specialists, or if they own their own bookstore. I mean, I wanted to pick my top 5 of those specific series. So without further ado, let's get started. The very first book series that I'm going to talk about, I have mentioned before on my channel, but I just can't get enough of, and that is the Magical Cats Mystery Series by Sofie Kelly. The very first book in the series is Curiosity Thrilled the Cat. And this is all about Kathleen Polson. She is moving from Boston to Mayville Heights, Minnesota, and she is going to be their new librarian. She is sort of breathing new life into the library since it's sort of started falling apart and just no one's coming to the library as much as they used to due to technology and all of that. She decides, hey, I'm gonna start brand new and I'm gonna move to this small town. Afterwards, if I'm done building this up and making the library beautiful again, I might go back home. It all just depends. Well, she doesn't expect that she's gonna fall in love with these 2 feral cats, Owen and Hercules, and she sort of adopts them. She brings them into her home, and she's actually the only person that can touch and play with them. She also finds that they have certain abilities that cats don't necessarily have. For example, we know that cats, if they fall off of something, most likely land on 4 paws, and we always know the myth that, cats have 9 lives. Well, her cats have more abilities than that. For instance, one can become invisible and the other one can walk through walls. So, I mean, that's pretty typical, right? No? Not typical? Well, I don't know. This is a really, really good series. The first book starts off with the Mayville's Wild Rose Summer Music Festival, and actually a murder happens. And since she is the newest arrival and she was sort of put in some sticky circumstances, she is the prime suspect. And so with the help of her amazing cats and their abilities, she is going to try and prove her innocence. And the second book that I'm going to talk about is Double Booked for Death. This is the first in a Black Cat Bookshop mystery series. And the cat on the front cover's name is Hamlet. And spoiler alert, he is my favorite character. Okay, I guess that's not really a spoiler, but he's my favorite character. And I love his sassy feistiness. And he keeps Darla in her place and is sort of like, this is my bookstore. So, rewind. This is all about Darla Pettistone, and she is tired of her life in Texas and the southern expectations of a lady and things like that. And so it actually is a good happenstance. Well, not necessarily good, but her great aunt Dee passes away and leaves her Pettistone's fine books. And she is perfectly fine packing all of her things and going all the way up to New York to take over her great aunt's bookshop. She didn't know that she was also getting a mascot, Hamlet, as a cat, a bookstore cat, and she is bound and determined that she is going to run this shop like nobody's business. She has a really, really popular sort of prima donna young adult author who's coming to sign books, and this is supposed to be a really, really big coup for the bookstore. She knows that this bookstore needs this publicity, and she's excited to sort of step in with a big plus. Well, the YA author isn't the nicest person in the world. She's kind of shirty and bratty, But Darla thinks to herself, we can get through this. It's one night. Let's do this. However, it seems that karma comes and bites the author in the butt, and she is killed. The police believe that it's an accident, but Hamlet, who is more well-read than probably any adult in the world, stumbles upon a clue inside the bookstore that points otherwise. So in order to save her bookstore's reputation and everything like that, Darla and her cat Hamlet have sort of taken it upon themselves to figure out the whodunit so that the shop can still remain and flourish. The third book series that I'm going to talk about is the Ashton Corners Book Club Mystery Series. The first one is called A Killer Read. This is by Erika Chase. This is one of my favorite book club book series that I've read. I love the fact that, we have book clubs. Like, for example, Angela at Books Are My Heart and I, we have a cozy mystery book club, and we talk about mysteries and everything like that, but we never in our life believe that we're going to actually fall into a murder mystery, and neither did Lizzie Turner or Molly Matthews and the rest of the Ashton Corners Mystery Readers and Cheese Straw Society book club. There was a stranger that came and knocked on Molly Matthews' door, and as a nice Southern lady, she invites him to use her telephone. They hear him arguing, and he isn't the nicest of people, and he leaves. The next thing we know, he is found killed with an antique gun that belonged to Molly's husband, who had passed away years before. And Molly is seen sort of as a suspect of a man she has no idea who it is. However, the plot thickens when Lizzie actually starts getting a manuscript slowly sent to her that reveals more to Molly Matthews and her previous husband's history, and it sort of points to an unsavory past, and Lizzie is refusing to let someone to whom she considers a mom be put in the situation of being a prime suspect. And so she's going out of her bounds as a reading specialist, which is what she does as her everyday job, and she's turning into an amateur sleuth in order to save Molly. The fourth book that I have is The Murder is Binding, a Booktown mystery by Lorna Barrett, and I'm not quite sure if you can see it very well, but I do have one of her other books right here, bookmarked for death. The first one is Murder is Binding, and I love this series. For one, it is based in a small town, of course, which most cozy mysteries are, Stoneham, New Hampshire, and it's a Booktown mystery series. So Stoneham has actually hit a really big recession, and they're losing a lot of tourists and money until someone who owns a lot of the buildings on Main Street decides to start leasing to bookstore owners. So each one of these buildings has a unique genre that they have. So there's a cookbook, there's travel book store, and then there's Trisha Miles. She is the owner of Haven't Got a Clue. It's a amazing store full of nothing but antique mysteries all the way up to current mysteries, and that just makes my heart swell, and I want to be Trisha Miles like really, really bad, because how amazing is that to be surrounded by your favorite genre all day, every day, always? Like, I just can't. I can't not. So Trisha is moving from the big city, and she's moving to Stoneham, aka Booktown, and she's opening up her Haven't Got a Clue, and her sister sort of follows her, and so I love the dynamic between her older sister and her, and how they bicker back and forth, and you sort of see their history between each other. I love that even though every single person on the main street is a book owner, they are totally different. So it's competition, but it's friendly competition. I really, really like that. However, it seems that it isn't always happy in Booktown. However, in the first book, Murder is Binding, Doris Gleason, who is the owner of a cookbook shop, is found killed with a knife stabbed into her. Someone wanted a very rare, very expensive antique cookbook. And since Trisha is the newest one and they were seen not quite getting along, she is the prime suspect. And in order to continue Haven't Got a Clue, she has to actually go and find a clue on who actually did this. I made that one up right at the spot. Haven't got a clue. Gotta find a clue. I really, really, really like this series. I actually just bought the next 3 in the series. I think I've read like 6 or 7, and I've really, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what Angelica and Trisha are up to. And last but certainly not least is February's Cozy Mystery Book Club Book of the Month, and it is Lending a Paw by Laurie Cass. If you haven't picked it up yet, there is still time. It's the beginning of February. We don't meet until the last Wednesday of the month, which I believe is the 28th, and we will be on Angela's channel, Books Are My Heart. I'll link her stuff and the Cozy Mystery Twitter and everything down below, so make sure that you follow and subscribe to us so you don't miss out. Lending a Paw is all about Minnie. She is a librarian in the tourist town of Chilson, Michigan, and she's super excited because she has this new adventure that she is partaking in. They have their very first bookmobile, and it is something that she has been working towards. She goes out on her very first day with the truck filled with books, and it looks like she has a co-pilot that she didn't necessarily sign up for. She adopted Eddie, and Eddie is a rescue cat, and he decides, hey, I'm coming, and we're going to be pilots together, and it seems like the day is running smoothly. She's super excited, and she gets to her very last stop, and Eddie decides to dart out of the bookmobile, and she has to go and follow him, of course, and when she finds him, he has found a dead body. And she calls the police. She has no idea what's going on, and she decides, you know, this is a police matter. I'm a librarian. I'm going to stick to what I'm doing. Except Eddie starts finding clues that point otherwise, that this isn't an accident, that the police officers believe it to be. And so she decides that she knows when as a librarian, she knows when something is past due, and she needs to make sure that she finds this killer so that she can check him in. Past due. Yeah. I'm funny. So that's the end of this chapter of Courtagonist. I hope that you enjoyed my top 5 bookish themed cozy mysteries. Let me know down below if you've read one of these, or if you have a bookish mystery that you think that I haven't read yet and that I should check out, because of course I haven't read every single cozy mystery. I'm trying my hardest. Make sure that you subscribe and follow my WordPress blog down below, because I have more details and beautiful bookish pictures of these top 5 bookish themed cozies. Like this video and subscribe, and until next time guys, happy reading. Bye!